Sometimes we find something in a video game that's a cause for celebration. This is why today we're diving into the 10 best video game discoveries of 2023. Brought to you by Honkai Star Rail. I'm hugely excited to promote Honkai Star Rail, the awesome free-to-play multi-platform space fantasy RPG from the creators of Genshin Impact that you should definitely play now. But don't just take it from me, Honkai Star Rail won Best Mobile Game at the Game Awards this year, in addition to Google Play's Best Game of 2023 and iPhone Game of the Year, and it's also available on PC and PlayStation 5. Don't miss the 1.6 update featuring 2 new 5-star characters, Roommate and Dr. Ratio, a 4-star character, Sway, as well as really cool new locations. Download Honkai Star Rail today and use my link and codes down below to redeem 50 Stellar Jades now. Skate. Thanks to Nick for submitting this discovery on the Oddheader Discord. Skate released in 2007 for the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and mobile. Launching EA's skateboarding franchise is a worthy challenger to Activision's Tony Hawk series. The game is set in the fictional city of San Vanelona, which is supposed to be a combination of San Francisco, Vancouver, and Barcelona, and possibly originally included a dairy farm, as Ulfanir found an unexpected skater model in the data of the Xbox 360 demo of the game just this year, 16 years after the release of the game. For some reason, only in the demo of the game, you could play as a cow who was apparently named Bessie. Unfortunately, Bessie did not make it into the final version of Skate, which is utterly disappointing, as she has some serious moves. Calabunga. Why Bessie was removed is still unknown, but the decision not to include Bessie in the final game is honestly pretty bull. Gran Turismo 4. Thanks to Naboo72 for submitting the discovery on Oddheader.com. Gran Turismo 4 released in 2005 as the 4th main installment in Sony's racing simulation franchise. The game continued Gran Turismo's reputation of ultra high quality car simulation, even being named one of the top 5 PlayStation 2 games of all time by IGN, which is perhaps only solidified by this new discovery. Gran Turismo modder Nenkai was extracting textures from the game when they noticed a Yeti they didn't remember ever seeing in Gran Turismo 4. That sent fans looking to see if the elusive creature was hiding somewhere in the game, with Nebu the Admeister and Submanic93 driving all around the snowy track Charmanix looking for his ass. And sure enough, hiding near some trees on the side of the road, they could see him from a distance. The group was unable to find any other mention online of the Yeti being on the track Charmanix, meaning this guy's been watching cars go by for 19 years and no one ever noticed. Players noticed the Yeti texture looks like it was ripped from Star Wars, as he looks just like the Wampa creature who attacks and kidnaps Luke Skywalker in the beginning of The Empire Strikes Back, which means a Star Wars reference went unnoticed for nearly 2 decades in Gran Turismo 4. For Sony's sake, let's hope that Disney doesn't find out about this. Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Thanks to Robert Rous and LackingAGoodName for submitting these discoveries through Oddheader.com. Recent discoveries were made in 2018's Call of Duty Black Ops 4 that were so nearly impossible to uncover. Mysteries surround how the hell they were ever meant to be found in the first place. The first of the discoveries came at the very end of 2022 on the map Dead of the Night, thanks to serious hacker Sirius, who stumbled upon the discoveries when reverse engineering the game. All you have to do is look at each of the record players throughout the level, including the ones in the secret area unlocked through a different Easter egg. Shoot the vases near each door in the main hall with pack-to-punch trebuchet shotgun, shooting the vases in the order of the rooms that you previously opened. Then light a candle in each room in reverse order, which spawns a record in the hallway, which you then have to play on each of the record players in reverse order that you looked at them. Stalk an invisible ghost around the map by following the sounds they make, until the ghost stops in front of the wall when rewarded with which then gives some perks in the homunculus equipment. Then, after finding what many Black Ops fans had already deemed the impossible Easter egg, Sirius discovered another one just a few days later on the map Voyage of Despair. On the map are clocks in 4 rooms that also have hidden symbols for either fire, water, air, and earth that appear at random after activating all the hidden pedestals around the map. Taking note of the time on each clock, you must then go to the bridge where there are 4 dials with the 4 symbols, which you must adjust to match the minute hands on the clocks in the room with the corresponding symbol. Then find the 2 dials on the poop deck and do the same thing to match the hour hands on the clock, and then again for the 2 dials in the engine room. Going on to round 9 in the game, if you stop in a specific corner of the poop deck and hold the use button, crouch and continue walking in that position down a very specific path with the use button still held, walk up to this random wall, melee twice, stand up and change your weapon, you're rewarded with Kraken and homunculus weapons. Nice. However, Sirius also found there's an even greater reward you can get if you complete these specific steps while another Easter egg on the map is already activated. The flying car Easter egg can be activated by finding bones throughout the map, which you can put inside safes that can be opened with codes hidden on nearby nodes. After doing this, going in the cargo hold and interacting with the car that has the skeleton driver makes the bone chauffeur take the car out for a joyride through the air, in what's believed to be a reference to the movie Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, with the car already flying around the map, doing the same steps before that granted us the Kraken homunculus. For some reason, now spawns spawns us inside the car, and a special bon voyage that went unseen for 4 years. This Easter egg is so obscure that many believe it was never meant to be found at all, and was perhaps something intended for the developers or QA testing, leading many to deem the discovery a bona fide and possible Easter egg. To think without Sirius's help, this Easter egg probably would have remained unsolved until most of us looked like this. Escape from Monkey Island. Thanks to KCadventure for submitting this through the Oddheader Discord. Escape from Monkey Island released in 2000 for Windows, Mac, and PlayStation 2 as the fourth title in the iconic Monkey Island series, which was one of my favorites when I was younger, and was the mark of an end of an era, as it was the last adventure game produced by LucasArts. KCadventure and Loctus of Nord were combing through Escape from Monkey Island for speedrunning purposes with a tool called the Escape from Monkey Island Resource Viewer, when they noticed something in the data of the game that was surprising even for a series as off the wall as Monkey Island. As in the source code of the game, they found scripts for cutscenes that hadn't been noticed for 2 decades. In the first cutscene, after the protagonist Guybrush and Elaine realize crazy old Herman is actually the old governor of Melee Island, Guybrush asks if Herman will return to his original position as governor. Herman refuses, and Elaine then says she's going to slap him, to which Herman would respond, "Give me $50 and I'll do it," which Elaine would have actually handed over, and Herman would have exclaimed, "And tell that husband of yours to stay out of my porno." Guybrush would have responded with, "Ixnay on the orno pay, jerkweed." So they were making pornos? And if that wasn't enough, at some point when Elaine and Guybrush encountered the monkey Jojo, Guybrush would have originally stated, "Elaine, meet the monkey who kept me company during those long Monkey Island nights." Elaine would have then said, "Stay away from my man, Fleabag, or I'll cut you." And Jojo would have then said, "Talk to the monkey paw, biatch, cause the face ain't listening." Seriously. And the scene would have closed with Guybrush saying, "I'll never forget your tender caresses, Jojo." Wow, no idea if this was the developers messing around or if they actually intended these jokes to be in the game, though if they were removed, it wouldn't be hard to see why. I know Monkey Island isn't exactly a kid's game, but never in a million years would I have expected Guybrush to sleep with a monkey, or to make a porno with Herman. Not sure which is worse. Gex 3. Deep Cover Gecko. Thanks to DoonGhard and HajimeTheFool for submitting this through the Oddheader website and Discord. The Gecko series has been featured on this channel before for being one of my favorite titles as a kid, and for also having a number of interesting unsolved mysteries. One mystery was a spinning cube that appeared at random for one player that no one was able to replicate. Very similarly, DoonGhard was playing Deep Cover Gecko earlier this year when they were on the bonus level, the Abysmal, when another spinning cube appeared for them at random, making DoonGhard the first to uncover this discovery for the first time in 24 years. DoonGhard managed to replicate the cube by whacking 6 specific pearls, whacking 7 mines in a specific order, whacking all the fish, particularly the red one, whacking the turret without activating it, whacking the target inside the ship, and then going inside the ship funnel. Only issue is this hasn't worked consistently for everyone, including frequent contributor and friend of the channel HajimeTheFool of the Easter Egg Archive, who believes there's an invisible trigger that hasn't been pinpointed, which joins a number of other unsolved Gex discoveries that have been frequently discussed among the community, such as this picture of producer Jeffrey Zelling that was found on accident on the level Chips and Dips and Enter the Gecko, or a strange room Lou's Arnco chip was teleported to in the level Brave Heartless, also in Deep Cover Gecko. While in the mysterious room, Lou's Arnco chip was able to get on a platform to light a torch in the distance when what looked like a mirrored image of a developer appeared. Lou's Arnco chip turned around and lit the parallel torch behind them, when suddenly, whoa, an image of a woman holding her breast suddenly appeared. Well, hopefully we find another way to legitimately enter this room, because it'd be great to get this captured in HD, for the sake of preserving a part of Easter egg history, of course. Beyond Shadowgate. Beyond Shadowgate released in 1993 for the TurboGrafx CD as the second installment in the retro point-and-click adventure game series. The series is most remembered among its fan base for the many ways the player could die, as the first game in the series was mostly text-based, so deaths were depicted as words on screens describing bodily harm the player encountered, down to which body parts get crushed or singed off, or how quickly a lake fills with your blood after a shark attack. Developers got so over the top with the death descriptions that players found them comical, and it's since been a tradition for players to explore the game looking for as many insane ways to die as possible. However, there is one way to die in Beyond Shadowgate that is perhaps the strangest of them all, as players Enigmaopia and Kula Rose found an unused death in the data of the game just this year. In the data, Enigmaopia and Kula Rose found several unused areas, including a room which had been located behind a door the player can't normally go through. Accessing this room for the first time ever, 30 years after the game's release, Enigmaopia and Kula Rose found that the area appears to be a room for surgeries, complete with a wood operating operating table and blood everywhere, which may seem rather sus and unsanitary now, but this is a medieval game. A strange man in the room tells you he's been trying to contact your sister, but a mystic barrier separates them and he cannot get through, but knows she is in great danger and begs you to go find her.
Find her, Eric. Find her.
The game's text reveals the man is a doctor, though you have your doubts, as he seems near a nervous breakdown from drinking and smoking. And when we try to explore the room further, now that doesn't belong in a medieval game, which is definitely the craziest death in this game, considering guns don't even exist in the setting. Well, so much for saving our sister. Fortunately, it was also found by modding the player's position over to the doctor. You could punch him in the head. Webkinz. Webkinz launched in 2005, where you could buy a plushie that came with an access code to an MMO that would bring your animal friends to virtual life. Webkinz was a huge hit with children, reaching millions of players, and in 2007 there was even a rumor about a Webkinz killer, who would show up at a random time to kill your Webkinz, said to be done by an ex-employee or a competitor, as apparently Neopets went to some serious lengths to undercut Webkinz. Fortunately, Webkinz themselves dispelled this rumor in an official post in 2008, saying, "Remember that we would never allow anything to hurt your Webkinz pets." However, my friend Slippy Slides found something in the data of the game while he was investigating another mystery that appears to give credence to the idea of a disgruntled developer working on the game, as in the files, Slippy found the message "Sony guy's pipe" 18 years after the release of the game. According to Urban Dictionary, a pipe is a person who makes bad decisions without thinking about consequences. Kinda like the person who left Sony guy's pipe in the game, which I guess shows that the Webkinz killer is real. They apparently were set off by someone over at Sony. NASCAR Thunder, 2003. Thanks to Grand Prix for submitting this discovery on Oddheader.com. NASCAR Thunder 2003 is the 6th installment in EA's stock car racing series, which was released in 2002 for the PlayStation 1 and 2, GameCube, Xbox, and Windows. The game has everything NASCAR fans could want, allowing you to race and customize cars, simulate the real NASCAR experience by managing your pit crew and sponsorships, or just crash and flip cars for the hell of it, as every kid did playing this game. The game also includes Lightning Mode, where players reenact real Winston Cup races and are rewarded with video messages from real NASCAR drivers themselves, who deliver their lines with the exact level of enthusiasm you expect from an actor filming a local TV commercial at gunpoint.
I always knew I'd have to work hard for my first Winston Cup win, but man, was this one tough.
In 2001, with 19 laps to go, I took the lead from Bobby Labonte.
Thanks for reminding me.
However, SledgeLIX on Twitter found the discovery while making a mod of the game that's more uncomfortable than watching these drivers crash and burn on screen, as Sledge was dumping the face textures in the data of the game when they found a strange texture they didn't recognize. Swapping it out with another driver's face in one of the game's victory cutscenes reveals what the texture looks like, and what the? The horrific nature of that face makes me wonder what this texture was originally going to be used for. Oddly enough, Sledge found the skull texture by swapping the VDTX value in the code with 21 years after the game's release. Well, at least he doesn't seem to be bothered.
If anyone ever tells you that something cannot be done, remind them of this story that proves anything can be done.
Call of Duty United Offensive. Thanks to Vlad Loktionov for submitting this discovery on the Oddheader Discord. The original Call of Duty released back in 2003 as the first installment in the most popular first-person shooter franchise of all time. The United Offensive expansion pack released on Windows and Mac the next year, adding new missions and maps as well as multiplayer modes. However, the expansion also added something else that was a bit unusual. As Vlad noted, that developer Jesse Snyder, who scripted the level Bois Jacques, wrote on his personal blog that you can thank him for secret variables which attach toilet models to all enemies spawning in, and that he was surprised that no one ever found them. Despite revealing this, it still wasn't found until September of this year, 19 years after the release of United Offensive, as Vlad figured out by activating and opening up the developer console in the game, then typing the command set toiletry true, 3 words I thought I'd never say, then semicolon dev map bestone 1. Sure enough, we would get toilet hands. Well, there's something I never thought I'd see. Unknown why Jesse Snyder hid this toilet hand feature in the game that went undiscovered for nearly 20 years. My only guess is he's trying to lend these soldiers a hand for when they have to answer their own personal Call of Duty on the battlefield, which is why this one is ranked at number 2. Attacking Zegeta 2. Thanks to Feech, Kai, and DC Ghoul 101 for submitting these discoveries on the Oddheader website and Discord. Attacking Zegeta 1 and 2 are games that have been covered on the channel for being complete mysteries after showing up on the PSN store in 2015 and 16, which were found to be extremely cryptic and barely playable to the point that no one ever managed to beat the first level of Attacking Zegeta 2. In fact, it wasn't until last year that players beat the first maze level of Attacking Zegeta 2 with the help of a map and a co-player giving directions 6 years after the game's release. This year, the community made more progress after the developer of the game, Denisoft, was found on the Discord server for their other game, an Attacking Zegeta prequel called Attack of the Trophilas. Well, here we go again. Denisoft revealed that even they don't know how to beat the Zegeta games, as they don't remember much from the time they made them, as apparently there was a lot of beer involved. And Denisoft said since they didn't have much time or resources, instead of creating more levels, they decided to just increase the difficulty of the game, which seems to at least explain the mystery, but they went more than a little overboard, as data miners discovered numerous coding errors that make the game basically unbeatable, such as platforms that lack collision detection so they can't be landed on, and bosses with billions of health points, which if one hit a second was even possible, would have only taken 66 years. The community this year decided to take the PlayStation 4 files of the game and rebuild them into a PC build, where they discovered that the game had cheat codes. One code provided invincibility, which was found could be activated in the base game all along if you just plugged a keyboard into your PlayStation and pressed I. Another code was found that provides a cheat exit on every level, which has not been found to work in the base game, but was able to be activated with a hack in the PC rebuild, allowing us finally for the first time to see what Attacking Zegeta looks like in its entirety. A stream of all the levels uploaded by Hello Zegeta on YouTube shows that Attacking Zegeta 2 is a side-scroller where the faceless Zegeta man is endlessly chased around by these flying robot things through various mazes, where Denisoft's logo can always be seen rather ominously in the background. Each area seems stranger than the next, with Zegeta man visiting a robot factory, a city with an alien spaceship in the sky, and a desert with cacti tiki men and some pyramids, the eye of which is a giant boss who attacks Zegeta with... Whoa, that actually looks pretty cool. There's also levels with strange names that don't appear to mean anything in either English or Spanish, filled with lots of untextured objects in the background, called Colagon and Bosky. In the end, Zegeta Man is what the game calls satellited, ending up in space with red statue heads with freaking laser beams coming out of their eyes, and then back to what looks like another factory, with an untextured character model on fire inside a glass case. Running up to the figure finally reveals the game's long-awaited conclusion. To be continued. What the f***? Well, I guess at this point, we'll just have to wait for Attacking Zegeta 3D, the trailer of which dropped 5 months ago. Damn, forget about GTA 6. I think I just found my most anticipated upcoming game of the year. Let's just hope we can get past the first level. And thanks again to Honkai Star Rail for sponsoring this video. Honkai Star Rail continues Hoyoverse's smooth gameplay and high quality visual design that I'm personally a huge fan of, though the fact it has over 80 million downloads speaks for itself. A really cool feature is that it also supports cross-platform play, as it shares your game data across both mobile and PC, allowing you to play anywhere at any time. Uncover secrets as you experience incredibly immersive sci-fi epic in a vast universe spanning thousands of years, filled with lots of fun side quests, rich lore, and well-written dialogue. The 1.6 update introduces Sway, a quantum-type character following the path of destruction, as well as Stellaron hunters Blade and Kafka, and Dr. Ratio, an imaginary-type character who's obsessed with the pursuit of knowledge. Experience a new adventure in the new map Seclusion Zone as you head to the space station and assist Rune May, a mysterious ice biologist, along with new curios and occurrences to discover. Use my link and codes down below to redeem 50 Stellar Jades now. Log in for 7 days to get 10 free Star Rail passes and use them to pull for Rune May or Dr. Ratio. And log in to Honkai Star Rail on January 17, 2024 and receive 1 copy of the 5-star character Dr. Ratio, which will be the first time Honkai Star Rail has ever given out a limited 5-star character. Don't miss out and download the game to claim this awesome limited time gift. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, and if you know of any other discoveries that you think I may have missed, submit through Oddheader.com, come join the Discord, or even send me a shout through Reddit or X. And thanks again to Slippy Slides for helping get the footage in this video. Feel free to subscribe to him down below as well. Shout out to Angel the Fox, Ash Photography, BitWiff27, CavDog26, Chad Biscuits, Ed Moffat, Eddie Talkspin the Bleach Primid, Flex, The Meatly, Miss Arctic Foxy, Phoenix157, Rackman22, Red Team Medic, Riley S, Robert Eisen, HajimeTheFool, Starcore2, Taryn Stock, and Towerizer for their Patreon support. Stay tuned.